torsion box workbench tabletop is complete. The last steps were to finish off the edges with this cherry, which I attached with screws and countersunk and plugged with some birch plugs that I made. Then went one more pass with the router and put a very slight chamfer here on the corners, and then finished it with a little bit of hand sanding. I also added this leg here in the front to help support this vise. My vise is pretty heavy, it's pretty standard, and I just wanted extra support so that that vise weight wouldn't shift the tabletop at all like it was doing with my old top. So I added this extra leg here and reattached the vise, and I'm really happy with that extra support. I decided to finish off the workbench with a couple coats of shellac, followed up with some paste wax. My other go-to finish would have been an oil varnish mix, which I really like, but I didn't want to wait in between coats for the curing of that, and I also didn't want to move the top outside or stink up my shop with that oil varnish mix. So I decided to go with a couple coats of shellac, which were really quick to apply, a little hand sanding in between, and finish it off with some paste wax, and I think it looks great. Some things I learned along the way while working on this project. The first was to make sure my initial work surface was very flat and level. Obviously that set the stage for the rest of this project. The next, which goes without saying, is making sure that milling all the parts, that they were exactly the same width and length were needed. And my story stick really helped out with that. During the assembly, it was important to make sure all the internal grid components lined up exactly with each other. And I double-checked along the way with my finger as I was toe-nailing and gluing them together. I did have to do a little bit of cleanup with the block plane afterwards, but making sure the internal grid was very flat definitely led to how flat this final work surface is. I did add some internal pieces where a row of bench dogs might go here in the future and where my vise attaches to the front. But I didn't add any the other way for a potential tail vise. And if I did this project again, I think I would add more filler blocks on the inside where I think I might need some screwing holes in the future or potential bench dogs. And finally, checking for flat at each step in the process made sure that nothing I was doing was adversely affecting the way the final product would turn out. I'm very excited about the way that this project turned out. The top is extremely flat, which is exactly what I was looking for, and it seems very stable. And it looks great and greets me when I come into the shop. Now, if you have any questions or comments about this, I would love to hear from you, so please leave me a message. And if you do a project similar to this, I would love to check that out.